Weakness, fear, melancholy, together with ignorance, are the true sources of superstition. Hope, pride, presumption, a warm indignation, together with ignorance, are the true sources of enthusiasm. God is an ever-present spirit guiding all that happens to a wise and holy end. The Crusades, the most signal and most durable monument of human folly that has yet appeared in any age or nation. Nothing is pure and entire of a piece. All advantages are attended with disadvantages. A universal compensation prevails in all conditions of being and existence. Virtue, like wholesome food, is better than poisons, however corrected. It seems to me that the only objects of the abstract sciences or of demonstration is quantity and number, and that all attempts to extend this more perfect species of knowledge beyond these bounds are mere sophistry and illusion. Weakness, fear, melancholy, together with ignorance, are, therefore, the true sources of superstition. Delicacy of taste has the same effect as delicacy of passion. It enlarges the sphere both of our happiness and our misery. It is an absurdity to believe that the deity has human passions, and one of the lowest of human passions, a restless appetite for applause. Men often act knowingly against their interest. A miracle is a violation of the laws of nature, and as a firm and unalterable experience has established these laws, the proof against a miracle, from the very nature of the fact, is as entire as any argument from experience can possibly be imagined. Such a superiority do the pursuits of literature possess above every other occupation, that even he who attains but a mediocrity in them merits the preeminence above those that excel the most in the common and vulgar professions. No human testimony can have such force as to prove a miracle, and make it a just foundation for any such system of religion. It is harder to avoid censure than to gain applause. It were better never to look beyond the present material world, by supposing it to contain the principle of its order within itself. We really assert it to be God, and the sooner we arrive at that divinity, the better. The identity that we ascribe to things is only a fictitious one, established by the mind, not a peculiar nature belonging to what we are talking about. Every wise, just, and mild government, by rendering the condition of its subjects easy and secure, will always abound most in people, as well as in commodities and riches. The religious hypothesis, therefore, must be considered only as a particular method of accounting for the visible phenomena of the universe, but no just reasoner will ever presume to infer from it any single fact, and alter or add to the phenomena in any single particular. We find in the course of nature that though the effects be many, the principles from which they arise are commonly few and simple, and that it is the sign of an unskilled naturalist to have recourse to a different quality in order to explain every different operation. Anticipation of pleasure is in itself a very considerable pleasure. Nothing indeed can be a stronger presumption of falsehood than the approbation of the multitude. But it is a miracle that a dead man should come to life, because that has never been observed in any age or country. Any pride or haughtiness is displeasing to us merely because it shocks our own pride and leads us by sympathy into comparison, which causes the disagreeable passion of humility. Nothing is more dangerous to reason than the flights of the imagination, and nothing has been the occasion of more mistakes among philosophers. Never literary attempt was more unfortunate than my treatise of human nature. It fell dead-born from the press. Such is the nature of novelty that, where anything pleases, it becomes doubly agreeable if new, but if it displeases, it is doubly displeasing on that very account. For the purposes of life and conduct and society, a little good sense is surely better than all this genius, and a little good humor than this extreme sensibility. Belief is nothing but a more vivid, lively, forcible, firm, steady conception of an object than what the imagination alone is ever able to attain. But though there be naturally a wide difference in point of delicacy between one person and another, nothing tends further to increase and improve this talent than practice in a particular art, and the frequent survey or contemplation of a particular species of beauty. Courage, of all national qualities, is the most precarious, because it is exerted only at intervals, and by a few in every nation, whereas industry, knowledge, civility may be of constant and universal use, and for several ages may become habitual to the whole people. To philosopher and historian the madness and imbecile wickedness of mankind ought to appear ordinary events. Enthusiasm produces the most cruel disorders in human society, but its fury is like that of thunder and tempest, which exhaust themselves in a little time, and leave the air more calm and serene than before. Is he willing to prevent evil, but not able? Then is he impotent. Is he able, but not willing? Then is he malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Whence then is evil? It cannot reasonably be doubted, but a little miss, dressed in a new gown for a dancing school ball, receives as complete enjoyment as the greatest orator, who triumphs in the splendor of his eloquence, while he governs the passions and resolutions of a numerous assembly. The consequence of a very free commerce between the sexes, and of their living much together, will often terminate in intrigues and gallantry. Nothing is more admirable than the readiness with which the imagination suggests its ideas, and presents them at the very instant in which they become necessary or useful. One would appear ridiculous who would say that it is only probable the sun will rise tomorrow, or that all men must die, though it is plain we have no further assurance of these facts than what experience affords us. Municipal laws are a supply to the wisdom of each individual, and, at the same time, by restraining the natural liberty of men, make private interest submit to the interest of the public. Stercus accidit. A man who hides himself confesses as evidently the superiority of his enemy as another who fairly delivers his arms. Beauty is no quality in things themselves, it exists merely in the mind which contemplates them, and each mind perceives a different beauty. It is seldom that liberty of any kind is lost all at once. Slavery has so frightful an aspect to men accustomed to freedom, that it must steal upon them by degrees, and must disguise itself in 1,000 shapes in order to be received. What is easy and obvious is never valued, and even what is in itself difficult, if we come to knowledge of it without difficulty, and without an stretch of thought or judgment, is but little regarded.